Okay, so today's video is a special one because today we are time traveling to the past. We have with us three flagship phones from 2018. We have Google's best Pixel 3, Samsung's best Note 9 and Apple's best iPhone XS Max. Don't ask us why we didn't repair the glass. And see here, these phones still sell on Amazon, OLX, second-hand market. Like the Pixel 3 is on Amazon for 23,400. So we used all these three phones for about a week and some of them we have been using for almost 3 to 4 years now. So the bigger picture here is when you buy an expensive flagship phone, you do expect it to last for 2 to 3 years. So the question that has to be asked is, if I buy a flagship today, how long will I be able to use it? And we have quite a lot of interesting things to talk about, so stay tuned till the end. Prateek, TechWiser, let's go. Okay, so back in 2018, phones had big bezels and big chin. Like Note 9 has very big bezels. Google Pixel 3 has a big chin. The XS Max, well, it has a notch and you will be like, Prateek, it just looks like the iPhone 14. How can you call it outdated? Well, true, even the iPhone 14 in my opinion looks outdated. So none of the phones look modern anymore. But, the in-hand feel of all these phones are really top-notch. Top notch. Like see, the Google Pixel 3 is compact and lightweight. I can easily use it with one hand, no problem, and it weighs only 150 grams. For today's standard, that's very light because phones today usually weigh around 190 grams. The Note 9 and XS Max also feels very premium in hand, like both have glass back and a metal frame. So yes, these are big phones, but the build quality gives them a very modern feel. And the Note 9 also has this iris scanner to unlock your phone and this S Pen, which works pretty well. Also, the Note 9 has a headphone jack, a not so flagship experience for 2022. You get all useful ports with the phone. But what wasn't common in 2018 but very important in 2022 is internet security. And here's a word from our sponsor, Surfshark VPN. Now fair thing, we have been using Surfshark VPN before they even approached us for this video. Now you're obviously being tracked on the internet for everything that you browse or watch. So there are two important reasons for which you should get Surfshark VPN. Number one, Surfshark VPN works on all websites seamlessly with good privacy and you can even unlock content from other parts of the world that are not available in India. Here's a good video for that. Number two, Surfshark VPN starts as low as 130 rupees per month, but you get unlimited device access so you can share it with your friends and family. Now Surfshark VPN partnered with us and for Team TechWiser, you get 85% off and 3 months for free if you sign up at surfshark.deal/TechWiser and use promo code TechWiser for 3 months extra off and 85% discount. Another area where these phones still perform like a 2022 phone is the display quality. Like nowadays, even budget phones have AMOLED screen, but in 2018, only flagships had it. And here's a very interesting thing. Like the iPhone 14 Pro shoots HDR videos, so I played the same video on all three phones and the Pixel 3 doesn't even render the video properly. Like the sky is overblown, the book is overblown. The iPhone XS Max does a good job, but the best is Samsung Note 9. Like it is the brightest and the video looks exactly as it was shot on the iPhone 14 Pro. And that's not all. The Note 9 has a 2K display. Samsung displays were way ahead of their time. Like the Note 9's display still feels like a 2022 flagship. And similarly, watching movies on Netflix and Amazon Prime Video, the Note 9 looks way better. But of course, nowadays phones come with 120Hz display and these phones are locked to 60Hz. And all of these phones have stereo speakers. Back in 2018, only flagships had dual speakers. But today you can get stereo speakers even on mid-range phones. Now, the one area where these phones show their age is the camera performance. So we are out here in practical conditions to test the camera of these three phones with their 2022 models. So first up, we have the Google Pixel 3 against the Google Pixel 6. Now, at the moment, we don't have the Google Pixel 7, but this is the next best thing. Okay, so while we were reviewing the photos, this is like very surprising. Like, have a look at this photo. This was shot in bright daylight against the sun, and the Pixel 3 does a fantastic job compared to Pixel 6. Like, it is as sharp as the Pixel 6. Now, of course, the Pixel 6 has a bigger sensor, so there is less noise and a bit of more sharpness. But here, have a look, we took this low light photo. There is a difference in color. The Pixel 6 is more cooler, the Pixel 3 is warmer. But in terms of sharpness, clarity, it is exactly the same. And it's very hard to believe that this Pixel 3 came up in 2018. Next up, the iPhone XS Max versus the iPhone 14 Pro. And straight up in good sunlight, the pictures look good, but the iPhone 14 Pro takes slightly better shots. Like see the wall behind me, it seems properly exposed on the iPhone 14 Pro. On the XS Max, it looks underexposed. The HDR shot from the XS Max looks a bit dull, still doesn't look bad, but if you move to low light conditions or indoor light, like the difference is day and night, because Apple kept improving the software and hardware, and funny thing, the XS Max doesn't even have a night mode. And we have the Note 9 versus the Z Flip 4. Now the photos from Note 9 are okayish, like in this picture my face and all is good, but the wall behind me is overexposed. And funny thing, Samsung called portrait mode live focus back in 2018. But let me show you something cool. Like, come see here, this is a physical shutter on the lens, like I can open or close it. So in theory, when the camera needed more light in low light conditions, it would open the aperture and take a bright photo, and in good daylight conditions, when it needed less light, it would close the aperture and take sharper photos. So by 2018 standards, it took good photos. But in 2022, the Z Flip 4 takes better low light photos, much brighter, cleaner and sharper image. Yeah, so the camera may not be up to 2022 standards, but if I talk about performance, well, that's a different story. Because the day-to-day performance of all the three phones, like opening app, browsing the web, watching videos and all, they work smooth. There is no jitter, no lag, nothing. But then we ran Antutu benchmark, and Antutu gives you a score based on your CPU, GPU, RAM and everything. Like, I was surprised the Android flagships couldn't even cross 4 lakh. And just to give you perspective, this is the score from the Samsung M52, which is a 25,000 phone, but you get it for 20,000 now. Like, a 2022 mid-ranger scores way better than these Android phones. So yeah, the 2018 flagships struggle if you run heavy apps or game on them, but they are absolutely fine for normal day-to-day tasks. Also, taking calls on these phones are just as good as today's phones. These are only 4G, but I didn't face any issues while making call. The only thing is, with the Samsung Note 9, I faced a bit of low connectivity and Wi-Fi range. Also see, the Samsung Note 9 battery has swelled up. Like, we left the phone unused for a year or so, and then when we checked it back, it was swollen. Like, you can see the gap between the frame and the back panel here. Anyways, these phones also have some really unique features which you won't find in today's phones. Like, take the Pixel 3 for instance. It has this cool squeeze gesture. So if I squeeze the side of the phone, it launches Google Assistant. And this is a hardware feature. There are extra sensors just here for this gesture. But Google removed it after this phone. On the Note 9, first you get a micro SD card slot, like even by 2018 standard. That was awesome. And second, it has a heart rate and SpO2 sensor at the back. So if I put my finger here, it can give you heart rate data and all of that. Like, no phone in 2022 gave these features. Oh, also, there is wireless charging with all these phones. But if there is one area that holds this phone back, is the battery life. Well, see, we have used these phones heavily when they came out, and with phone batteries, they start to degrade over time, even if you don't use them. That is just the battery tech. So if we talk about the Pixel 3, well, first, it is a compact phone, so it already had a smaller 2900 mAh battery, and on full charge, use it normally, video watching, listening to music, it doesn't last a full day. You have to charge it twice. Same goes for the Note 9 and the XS Max. Yes, they were better than the Pixel 3, but you will still have to charge them every 20 hours, 15 hours, depending on your usage. Okay, so when does a phone truly become old? The answer, when the company stops giving support for the phone. And I'm not talking about warranty and all of that. Even if you buy this phone today, you will get 1 year of hardware support from Samsung or iPhone or Google. But I'm talking about software support. So the Samsung Note 9 is running on Android 10, Google Pixel 3 is running on Android 12, but the iPhone XS Max is running on the latest iOS 16. And this is a very important factor, because without an up-to-date software, some apps and features may not run properly, and there could also be issues with privacy and security. Like, for instance, from Android 12, whenever you turn on the camera, you get this green icon at the top right corner. So if any app in the background uses your camera, you know that it shows up here. But this feature is not there on the Samsung Note 9 because it is on Android 10. Again, with Android 13, Google introduced improved notification permission. So whenever you install an app, it will ask for your permission to send you notifications. But now you will not get this feature on the Google Pixel 3 because it is running on Android 12. And overall software updates determine the longevity of the phone. So see here, on the Pixel, it clearly shows that the updates of this phone have ended. Samsung Note 9 2 shall not receive any more security or software update. And this is an area where the iPhone XS Max has a huge advantage because it is running on the same version as their latest iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro. And by Apple standards, this will still continue to receive updates for an year or maybe even 2. We'll see here the iOS 16 is available on the older iPhone 8 and that phone came out in 2017. So bottom line, If you own the iPhone XS Max or even buy a second-hand one, you're good to go till 2024, and that is impressive. So yeah, this was a fun little experiment. Smartphones have come a long way since 2018. Like what were flagship features in 2018 are now on budget and mid-range phones like 4K video recording, AMOLED display, HDR videos, high refresh rate display, stereo speakers, etc, etc. But the question is, if I buy a flagship today, how long can I use it? The iPhone XS Max has aged the best. So if you buy an Apple device, you're good to go for 4 to 5 years. And trust me, this is coming from an Android fanboy. And the Pixel 3 has aged like second best. They had the second best update, second best camera, and third is Samsung. But in 2022, a lot has changed with Samsung. You get probably the best Android updates in Samsung. So see, if you can manage your expectations from camera quality, then almost all three flagships will last you more than 3 years easily. And the smartphone industry is growing very fast. Like now we have 5G, folding phones have become normal. So I'm really hopeful for what the future has in store for smartphones and in general internet. Can't say the same about Metaverse, but on that note, this is Pradeep signing off. See ya in the future. Pew, pew, pew.